All right, let me go through this one more. I'm gonna go through this one more time. So you get this is like take two. You get take two of my math there. So we start with an elevation. We go up to get our HI. You guys are gonna see I'm using colors, and I'm gonna keep doing colors here just to keep the script when we get into our field book the same. So elevation, we add to go up to get our backsight. So elevation plus gets us our height of instrument. And we take our shot on the rod here out on a point. This will be a foresight. This is going to be a negative, so we're going to do this. Foresight is a negative because what we're going down. All right, so anyone punch that up? What is the elevation of B?
417.
Say that louder again, Brian, would you?
Oh, I got 412.17 feet.
412.17. Does anybody else get that? 412.17. So that's our elevation of B. All right, so blank field book page. All right, that's as far as I can go. All right, blank field book page. Let's set up this series of shots in a blank field book page. So we're always going to start. You guys will see the FTX1 on the first measurements. Job info. And it was the first time he worked with a field book, but just common things that we want to always make sure that we do in a field book entry. We got the date, right? Typically in my books we're inside, but we would always put the weather in here. So usually the weather. But the crew who worked on it, and the equipment. So just make note of that today. So obviously the weather is going to be 70 degrees and sunny inside. But your crew, you and your partner, and then I don't know what we use, the automatic level and a rod would be like for today. In the example, I think that I handed out when we talked about field book entries, when you have your crew, there's some symbology that can go along with it. Usually what you would put is that little symbol, looks like a tripod. This would be whoever ran the instrument. This symbol is who was running the rod. And this symbol would be who had the book or the notes. So sometimes you don't have the luxury of having 3 people in the crew. But why would you think this might be important? Anybody? So, yep. Which instrument did we lose? If we used level number 2 out of the cabinet, but the numbers were all screwed up, hey, maybe something's wrong with level 2. We would be able to go back to our jobs and figure out, hey, who used level 2 for the last 2 weeks? Something's wrong with it. We got to double check it. And you know, the crew stuff. Who did the calculations? Who was running the rod? A year from now, when someone else has to take your field notes out of a file book somewhere, but if they might want to call, they'd probably call the person that had the book first, right? Hey, your numbers aren't checking out here. We've got some old stuff here. Maybe you can help me with it. So, and in the case here, today whoever's running the instrument will be doing the book, so you can show it that way. This is person 1. And maybe the rod is person 2. So get in the habit of recording. Get in the habit of recording that stuff. All right, so since I made them, I'm going to drop down. So ideally, you guys will be working up here. Hang on, I'm going to do this real quick. Keep it clean. And I'm just going to put job info here. You guys know what's there. All right, so there's headings that we're going to put down at the top of these columns, and this is why field books are set up with a grid like this. So for every time we're going to be out, let's just jot these down. I'll give you a chance to grab those. And this is where I'm veering from the book, because the book has a couple terms that there's one term that they have in the stuff that they did I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you what it is because I don't know. So once we get our column headers, let's just go ahead and, this is where we start. So let's look at what each column represents. Station is just your location. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a station like this with a number. A station could be just the location of whatever it is that you're shooting. So it's the description. And all the information on it's going to work on a set of lines. This is where it's just you're going to have to learn how to do this. It'll get intuitive after a while. But so when we talk about the elevation of the benchmark, so we have backsight, we have our height of instrument, we have our foresight, we have elevation, and then we have some notes with whatever that point is. Now I'm going to do two things over here too. I'm going to put this as the color green, and I'm going to add this as the color red. Add those two above what you have as your backsight and your foresight, because that will help you do the math. So let's start. We just went out and we are going to work on this problem. So here's where the numbers go. Here's how we plug stuff in. So the first thing that we know when we start the job, we haven't even set the instrument up, we know the benchmark. So over here we're going to say benchmark A, right on this line. And let's write the elevation down. We know it. It's 410.26. And out here in the notes, if there's some information that we know about this benchmark, we'll jot it here. So maybe I'm just going to put cross cut in sidewalk. It could be whatever it is. But when we talk about notes and descriptions, benchmark A is what it's titled, but this is actually what it is. So we've got everything on one line. So what's the next piece of information we did? Well, we're trying to find the HI, but we got to start somewhere. So we set it up, we leveled, we took our shot, and our shot was 4.71, and that was our backsight. So 4.71 goes here. So just like we did with our math, just like we did here on the shot, we are going to add the elevation, the 4.71, and we're going to get our HI. Comes out to 414, in this case 97. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a line with an arrow. So if you look in this case, everything that has happened with benchmark A and our instrument is all on one line. It's all in one place. We got the elevation, we know what our shot was, we know what the height of instrument is. So everything on this side, our setup to get the HI, is all here. We now are locked in to this HI. We got it locked in. So we could take one shot, we could take two shots, we could take 50 shots. Everything below that arrow is what we're shooting. That's what we shot. So what happened after that? So we went over and we turned the level around and we took a backsight shot. And that shot, I'm just going to drop down a couple lines. You can drop down one, you can drop down two. I'm going to drop down a couple lines. I'm going to say 2.80. And we follow the signs. So in this case here, we went elevation, we had a backsight, we added it to get the HI. Now in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to take the HI, subtract the 2.80. What was our elevation? It's 412.17. And what is that? We'll put the describer over here. It's point B. And if we knew what it was, we can put a little description out here. I don't know, manhole. That's how you set it up. That's how a field book gets recorded. Current letter, and we'll go do this. Does everybody kind of see the pattern? Pretty straightforward, right? So let's do this. What would happen if in this same spot, I came over here and I wanted to shoot point C. Let's say someone said, oh, hey, while you're over there, shoot point C. And let's just say point C, looks like it's a little lower. Let's say this was 3.12 is what we read. So how would we record that? Well, we'll start a new line down here. We've got point C. What was our shot? Shot was 3.12. Who wants to punch up the elevation of that? It's the same height of instrument. We didn't move that, right? We're taking off 3.12. What's the elevation? Punch it up. Say it something louder. I'm sorry to copy here. You guys can scream at me. I can. 411.85. 411.85. And maybe this is a curb. I don't know. Whatever it is. So the height of instrument, and this arrow says everything below the arrow, use that HI to calculate it. So we took 2 shots using that HI and we got 2 different elevations for that. That's it. This recipe will stay with you for ever. This is what you do. This is how you record it. So some things, adding the plus and the minus helps make it intuitive. You can't miss. Just follow whatever the sign is when you move something over. If you're keeping lines, go ahead and keep them separate. When you do a field book entry, there's no magic to say that you have to have all this stuff all scrunched into one page. You can use as many pages of a field book as you want. You can spread these out by lines so that you can read them, because what? It's clarity of presentation. It's very easy for me to see this, that shot, and that elevation. So if I scrunched everything all together and you consolidate, it can get confusing. But go ahead, you just leave gaps. You can leave gaps in the book. Does everybody kind of see how that goes? So let's do this. Are we quarter till? Take a break. Do I need to show? I'm thinking out loud right now, because what I want to do is I want to be able to get in the hallways, and I want you guys to apply this. So let's do this. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna grab the gear. We're gonna go walk the site. We've got 3 locations. You guys are gonna do this today, so we're gonna set the level up. Just work with a partner. Set the level up, and we'll take some shots and we'll record them. So let's do that. We'll catch 10. We'll come back at 10. Let's come back at 11. We'll come back at 11. We'll go walk the site. I'll show you where all 3 of the places are, and then we're gonna go out and take some shots. Okay? Sure.
So, if this is how about roll, whatever it is?
Yeah.
And so we shoot on 2.9, and these are our calculations. So if you come back to shoot another day, is there a line between a new date?
New page.
A new page.
New page,
So
yep.
it's not a continuous
Right.
point A, B, C, whatever. Okay.
Yep, everything for to start fresh. Because if you think about that too, Maria, if you came back on the 10th, once you come back on the 10th, what's the first thing you got to do? You got to get the instrument, set it back up. You're going to need to take a new backsight shot, because your HI is now going to be different, right?
Because something might change. Something could change.
It will naturally change, right? So yeah, you're just going to start. You'll be starting that from scratch.
Do they like do this like throughout the course of a job? Do they check this like points randomly, like A.
You know what? I'll bring my field book in from Orland, and I'll show you what. Yeah, essentially to put some context to it, going down a street, usually fire hydrants are benchmarks. You use the top of a fire hydrant.
Those don't move.
Those don't move. So that's usually how it plays out, and we'll go from hydrant to hydrant. I'll bring my level loop
So you
in.
see flags on them from time to time?
Flags, paint,
Something on there or
people
something?
write. I never like
What
to.
that was about?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that before.
I never like to write on anything like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So that's
Okay.
it's a known, becomes a known benchmark that, like I said.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
There it is.